Oh, Jenna, manipulative as always.
She's like, "You're going to go on this hike whether you like it or not, or I'm going to break all of your fingers."
I know, right?
Ah!
Oh, she's so cute. And then to see how manipulative she is, like, ah,
She's
oh,
like she's like Murphy from Dresden Files. She's a she's a lady police officer that Harry Dresden knows. And there's this demon dude that they team up with at some point. And his opinion of Murphy is she's small but fierce.
yeah, that's her. Small but
She's
fierce.
the Murph's the one who like gets a shotgun full of buckshot and just will like run right up to a hellhound, stick the barrel in his mouth, and pull the trigger. So like, this thing gets her, it rips her apart. She's like, "Fuck it, we ball."
Yeah,
If you can imagine a
I'm gonna
character
get you.
like, if you can imagine a character sprinting and then sliding like onto their knees and their back just to shoot something in the face, just one tap it,
That's
that's
her.
Murph. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, that sounds like Jenna.
All right,
She
go
wants to
for
get
it,
her
Jenna.
claws in you.
Yeah, go for it, Jenna.
So, where are we headed, TJ?
Jenna sounds like she's in a much better mood than yesterday. We all are, really. The canyon, Echo Canyon, more specifically. You ever been? He looks at us both with a grin.
Nope.
No, me neither. His ears fall a little. Well, you know the town is named after it, right? How have you not been there before? I shrug and Jenna laughs.
Because you have to walk through 3 miles of snake infested desert to get there.
That makes me bristle because there definitely are snakes here. I can't help but scan the brush. You really you really shouldn't be worried about that. They're more afraid of you than you are of them. And they do have a rattle, so just listen for it. Also, the tarantulas, the big ass spiders, they're the ones who will stand on the rocks and wait for you, and then they'll jump on your head and bite you in the head. They'll jump on your head and bite you. Right, Chase?
No!
Sometimes they'll even hide in the brush and then jump and get you. They'll jump on your face that time. Oh!
you can
Wait. No, 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 no.
you can feel their stares as they watch you pass by and approach.
What's really bad is when they slowly. What's really bad is when they slowly crawl up the back of your pant like, oh.
You can even hear him going, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get
There's
you, Chase.
no escape.
Resistance is futile. Poor tarantulas.
Jenna grins and looks straight at me.
Yeah, you're right. The most dangerous animal that you'll find on these paths is the blonde.
I like how they went the exact direction we went.
Yeah, we did. She just likes to watch people suffer.
An involuntary shiver works its way up my spine. Jenna! TJ frowns. That's even less likely, Jenna. Great. Now that you've said it, I'm going to be all uptight for the rest of the hike.
You're welcome. All right, let's get going. We want to make it to the top by noon.
Okay, there is actually a really sneaky thing that she just did that I'll explain right now, really quick. Okay, so traumatic memories are sort of misfiled in the emotional part of the brain. And how memories are normally filed is in the logical part of the brain, and there's like emotional tags, and the chronological, the time based memory, right? In the logical. Anyway, so memories are stored chronologically in the logical part of the brain, and then they are, I think it's over here actually, and then there are tags to the emotional side of the brain in that memory, in the chronological part of the memory. Traumatic memories are misfiled into the emotional part of the brain. It's why you can't really just normally think about them on command all the time very easily. Uh, if you do think about them on command, they're really traumatic and they feel really fresh because, like, normal memories are being processed over and over and over, and your brain is actually sort of incorporating new ideas into those memories. So, if something happened to you when you were 5 years old, when you're 35 years old, you'll have that 30 years of new memories and new ideas and concepts modifying that older memory. If it's misspelled into the emotional side of the brain, so if it's traumatic, it can't change. So your brain, like, basically is always trying to chip away at these memories to try and take little pieces of them and slowly refile that into the logical side of the brain. It's just not particularly amazing at it. Here's the thing that's interesting that she might be going for, but I don't think the writer actually knows about this, is if you're doing bilateral stimulation, that's a fancy schmancy way of saying bilateral, both sides of the body, and stimulation, you're doing stuff or feeling something, you can effectively encourage your brain to more easily move those memories over if you're thinking about them. So, an example of this, an example of bilateral stimulation would be going for a hike. So, by Jenna bringing up blonde tarantulas and they're getting ready to go on a hike, she knows that Chase is going to be thinking about tarantulas and all that the entire time. So that might take these memories and help chip away at them to get them properly, get more parts of them properly filed into the correct part of the brain. However, I don't think that's what the author actually knew existed or understood, but that's something that happened. It's why people who go on long walks all the time seem to have dealt with a lot of their issues. They always seem happier.
Mm.
So anyway, if
So
we think,
basically, when you do a bilateral activity and you're thinking about something that was traumatic to you, you're basically working through the I guess you could say the PTSD and the effects of it.
yeah, you're working through the traumatic memory, yeah, you're sort of
Okay.
helping your brain pull it out of this like stasis in the emotional side of the brain and push it into the logical side of the brain where it's supposed to be, because they don't change very much in the emotional side of the brain. Instead, they're there. And whenever it gets brought up, you kind of relive the trauma as it happened there. And it, as time goes on, it starts making less and less sense. Because, you know, if you're 5 and this really traumatic event happens to you, you don't have a frame of reference. If you're 35 and you remember that memory from 35 years ago, but it's still traumatic and misfiled, effectively your brain for that memory reverts back to a 5-year old. And that's how that's being experienced. But a non traumatic memory from when you were 5, when you remember that memory, your brain is still a 35-year-old now. It doesn't suddenly regress for that memory. So now you have new perspective on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, to give you guys an idea, all you listeners, all you viewers, when we look at stuff like when we look at these things, a lot of those really traumatic emotions people kind of block out because they don't like touching them a lot because they're traumatic. Um, the triggers for those can be kind of anything. So, like, let's say someone was attacked. Let's say someone was 5 and then they were, attacked, or what they perceived as an attack by like a 25-year-old, 30-year-old, bald, bearded man. and that person like did something to them and that traumatized them, and they never got therapy for it. And then 20 years later they go and they watch like a Xenosis video or whatever, and they see this bald, heavily bearded streamer, and they instantly get triggered. So the trigger can be anything. It could literally be a mustache. It could be a beard. Be that someone's bald. It could be the way someone looks at them. It could be a specific phrase. That kind of thing. So, it could be any of those things.
Yeah, just whatever can trigger that memory.
Whatever triggers it. Yep. Which is why, if you figure out someone's triggers, don't trigger them over and over and over. Do not do that. That is bad, everyone. If you do that enough, and they have any kind of violent inclination, they will eventually beat your ass. So do not do that. Also, it's just horrific to them to re-trigger someone all the time.
And it's just not funny.
No, it's not. Like when people are teenagers or they're shitheads, and they think being edgy is really cool. Like, then they think it's funny. Or they think it's cool because they haven't had the experience. But you'll notice that people who have traumas don't like going around and traumatizing other people. The people who have had this nice charmed life where like they really haven't had anything traumatic happen to them, or they've been sort of fed into this ideal that like everyone should just get over it, so I guess it wasn't traumatic enough for it to really crystallize for them. The like those are the people who like to trigger people because they think it's funny. They do something and then they get a reaction out of someone and they think it's hilarious. But the people who have actually been traumatized, they say something, they get that reaction out of someone, they notice and recognize that reaction, and they feel terrible because they have an idea of what that person's going through. So, yeah, it's an experience that once you understand it, you will typically not want to like give someone that experience over and over. But some people think it's funny, right? Like a lot of teenagers think it's funny because there haven't been those consequences yet. But I've also met teenagers who they've tried to, we'll say, unalive themselves. And because of traumas that happened to them when they were even younger. And it's like they do not like triggering people. They do not like being a shitlord. They find somewhat edgy stuff to be kind of funny, I guess, because they're still teenagers. But yeah, they don't like doing that to people. They tend to be a little bit more aware of what's going on for people emotionally because they've experienced it themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A few hours
Go for it.
in, a few hours in, and TJ's quite a bit ahead of us. I feel a little bad about it, but I think he likes it that way. Probably wants to think after probably wants to think after yesterday. Jenna and I walk side by side, and she's making sure that I drink water the entire time.
You should be done with that by now.
She gestures to my water bottle, which is still half full. Ugh, come on. I've had like 3 already. I take a sip, then almost snort water as Jenna tips up the bottom of the bottle.
Hey, I made TJ a promise here. You're an otter. You need it.
Oh, wait, sorry. I cough a few
You have
times.
water.
I cough a
You
few.
have water.
I cough a few times, water running down my chin and chest. Even though it feels good, I wipe it away with a forearm. Jenna chuckles before we start walking again.
Actually, you don't need more than water. Actually, you don't really need more water than me or TJ, as he could tell you. the water thing is actually more of a psychological need as opposed to a physical one.
Oh, yeah? I look over my wet camera bag, which definitely didn't need water.
Yeah, back when they weren't really separate. uh, Yeah, you know, back when there weren't really any ethics in research, they separated an otter pup from water, never allowed to swim.
That makes me pause. Technically, in this day and age, otters don't really need to swim. A trip to the supermarket gets all that done. But something about not being allowed to be in water, to feel the cool, isolated space that I so longed to be in. What happened? What happened?
What happened? What what happened? Depressed, disengaged, neurotic in general. Then, when they were done, they just set him loose into the world. He killed himself a few years later.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, ethics are in place now, of course. Not that the psychological association is any better. You probably heard about their role in the whole advanced interrogations controversy.
Like the waterboarding stuff?
Yeah, yeah. But it really makes you realize how powerful the brain is. It's not all physical necessities.
Must have been pretty awful for him that he killed himself. I can't imagine. Talking about offing oneself, though, it's got me thinking about Jenna's brother. So, uh,
You wanting to talk about Adam?
no! Well, sort of did, but I don't think that would be appropriate at all. I was just wondering, are you gonna go see your family sometime during the trip? We talked about it earlier, but I guess you really didn't give an answer. Jenna snorts loudly, tossing her head back.
You're kidding, right?
I feel my cheeks flush, knowing that I might have said something really offensive. I'm not really in tune with how things are with Jenna's family. Leo and sometimes Flynn dealt with most of that. I mean, aren't you a little curious?
Curious is the wrong word.
Oh?
Maybe morbidly curious. Anyway, they haven't bothered contacting me since I left. So, as far as I can tell, they're not missing me.
Guys, there's a giant dip over here, so watch your step. TJ is quite a bit ahead of us now. I don't even see him anymore around all the boulders and brush. I pick up the pace and Jenna follows. Well, do you miss them? She doesn't say anything for a while, which tells me she's really thinking about it.
No.
She says it, finally, surprising me a little with her bluntness.
At least, not my mom and dad. Not even Adam.
Really? Jenna shifts around as she grabs another water bottle out of the backpack and hands it to me.
Adam, he had problems. Mom and dad fucked him up, of course, but he took it out on me. He did some messed up stuff.
I debate whether or not I should ask what exactly that messed up stuff was, but I'm way too scared I'm way too scared of what it might be.
Jeremy, though, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing him again.
I give her an incredulous look. See, Jeremy's the one I would have thought she wouldn't have wanted to talk to.
Eh, yeah. Now Clint is the one that fucked up Jeremy, but he really was a good person before then.
Jeremy was, for as long as I can remember, a royal dick. A bully to me, TJ, and Carl. Along with Clint, he terrorized our childhood. That is, until Leo showed up. I'll never forget the day Leo rammed Jeremy's head into a tree and punched Clint so many times the face so many times in the face his eyes almost swelled shut. Of course, Leo never got in any trouble because neither of our parents gave a shit.
Environment is really important to how you develop as a person.
I think for a second. Well, you turned out alright.
Environment and temperament make us who we are. Some people some people can just take more.
It's clear that her temperament was a lot stronger than mine, whichever that was. If I had parents like that, I don't know how I would have survived. I take another gulp of water, and it's then that I realize how badly I need to pee. Looking off to the side, I spot a rather large boulder surrounded by sagebrush. Hey, you go ahead. I gotta take a piss. Jenna quirks her muzzle and folds her arms.
Sure you don't want me to wait up for you?
Uh...
I'm kidding.
She turns and starts walking up the trail.
Watch out for spiders.
I suddenly don't have to piss anymore.
Yeah. Strangely enough, my jeans feel very cool.
Sometimes Jenna's jokes were so dry that I had a hard time figuring out if she was really joking or not. I dodge my way around the sagebrush and tumbleweeds towards the boulder and start to piss. Jenna really is an enigma. She's nice enough and smart, but she always has this edge about her that always has me on guard for some reason. Fur prickles on the back of my neck. I'm not sure what it is, but something isn't right. I look left and right, and the small chance that someone else might be coming up the trail. It's weird feeling like this in broad daylight. Normally I don't get so uptight unless it's dark. Then, I look at where I'm peeing. I see what looks like this 8-legged thing that looks kind of pissed off, and it's all wet.
Great big frown on it. The frown between its fangs.
Imagine. He's like, man. He just accidentally pisses directly on his tarantula and it jumps on him.
It's like, you just hear it. Go, bitch!
It jumps out the stream and bites him somewhere. He's like, oh!
I got F'd in the D.
Oh my god, I'll suck the venom out.
The venom's tangy.
I hear it's the opposite, a species that can see better at night. Something's watching you from the brush. A shiver runs right up my spine and I tremble under its influence. As if of its own accord, my head whips around, immediately focusing on a clump of sagebrush 30 feet away. In there, right in the middle, someone's face is staring at me. I can only call it a face because there's 2 eyes and a mouth, but I've never seen anything like it. It's flat, wide, and stretched out, sagging where the chin should be. I can't help myself. I pee all over it.
Thought you would like this part.
It's
There's
just
like this face. You just hear his voice going, "I'm watching you pee."
he's like, oh, and like the stream just shoots out. It's like I am watching you.
I am watching.
I think we're having way too much fun with this.
This episode, we laugh about pee.
I yell loudly and stumble to my side as I whip my body around to defend myself, somehow conscious of the fact that my dick is still out. Then it all comes together. I stare for a few seconds longer, then force out a tight, high pitched laugh. Are you fucking kidding me? It's a rock. A white rock with a little sage with the sagebrush twigs, and the sagebrush twigs have fallen over it perfectly to give it similar features to that of a face. Ah, good old pareidolia. I sigh and rub my own face with my paws, feeling my heart hammering in my chest. I always did this shit to myself. As I lower my paws and notice a wet streak across the left side of my pants, I haven't finished peeing yet. Fucking son of a bitch. I hiss
It'd
and
be funny
turn.
if he said something along the lines of, "I noticed my hands are really wet, and so is one side of my face."
Yes, you like rubbed his face. Why did my eyes
Rub piss
burn?
into his face. I know, right? Why do I smell like piss?
Damn it.
Damn it.
I hiss and turn back to the boulder, trying to work myself into a peeing mood again. Finally, as I start finishing up, the prickling feeling on my neck starts up again. I try to ignore it, but it's getting worse and worse. I shake my hips around a few times, then zip up and start back around the boulder. It's at that point that I give a quick glance back to the brush. The rock isn't there anymore. I stare, one paw on the boulder, feeling my fur starting to bristle out over my body. What? Maybe it's because I'm at a different angle now. The feeling of being watched is overpowering, though. It's coming from the other side of the boulder I was just at. I look up the trail, but I don't see TJ or Jenna at all. I can't even hear them. I look back towards the boulder, wondering if I'm losing my mind. Gritting my teeth, I turn away and start back up the trail at a brisk walk, knowing that I'm acting just like a little kid. Despite that, I feel myself starting to panic a little, and soon enough I'm running up the trail and I'm not looking back.